How are we doing? Okay, so listen, in the realm of like entertaining things that are going on, clearly the NBA championship just finished up here. NHL Stanley Cup, that's done too. NFL season, a little bit away. Major League Soccer is in the middle of it. You have the Soccer World Cup. It's like their event. We have Esports World Cup qualifiers. We got champs in Call of Duty starting tomorrow. We have the midseason invitational and league starting tomorrow. And that's just, like referencing a couple things that I'm like somewhat interested in, more things than another. We can make like an entire list. But the point being is that there is an insane amount of things going on. And that is just stuff that I am minutely interested in, and think of everything else that's out there in the world and think how every single person has to decide, I'm going to focus my time on this. I'm going to focus my time on this. And the moral of the story here is there's so much going on, and being able to get attention, people's focus, people's time, it's hard. But once you get it, they're going to get hooked. So come up with something good, sell some candy, and start an ice cream truck. That's the advice of the day. True. Okay, welcome to another edition of X-Feed. My name is Schiller. We're going to be talking about the Pengu ETF announcement. We're going to be talking about how Ledger has some like pretty drastically bad news that came out about them. But at the same time, if you watched the stream yesterday, you would have noticed that we highlighted the fact that Ledger is now sponsoring the San Antonio Spurs. So you'll have a major, very cool announcement for a product in Web3 that is almost trying to like shadow the fact of, yeah, we just did something that people might not be huge fans of. And if you haven't seen it, we'll go over it. You can use Bitcoin now for mortgages, everything else under the sun. Let's get into it. We are live over on Abstract if you're wanting to check that out. Okay. Very uncool Ledger. Let's read what this post says first, and then we'll go into the perspectives on it. So, Ledger Nano S transitions through the year. What does that mean for device app developers? So, if you're somebody that has a Ledger, you'll know that there's various kinds of them. If you have ones that are how do I say it? Like protruding, if you have like the clicking handles on them that protrude a little bit, like a camel hump, that's the one that's the Ledger Nano S. Okay, so this would be affecting you. Ledger is transitioning away from the Ledger Nano S. As a result, new applications, feature submissions, and app updates on the Nano S will not be accepted. We recommend you begin planning for this transition now to ensure continuity for the users by warning your community that support of your blockchain app wallet and service on the Nano S is not guaranteed, and encouraging your community to upgrade to another Ledger device and check that they have their 24-word secret recovery phrase to maintain support. So the comments here kind of like, I understand you're a business, but don't play with backwards compatibility, yada, yada, yada. So essentially the thought of this, and yo, Jeremy coming through. Oh my goodness. What you guys remember the other day we talked about yo, Jeremy getting over with the Vibes crew?
Holy sweet sugar and cheese.
Sheesh. True. Yo, congrats on that. That's an awesome gig. Can't wait to see what you cook up on that front. But basically, if you have a Ledger Nano S, they're saying that support for that is going to stop. It doesn't mean that it's not going to work at all. Obviously, this is a little bit ways down the line, but this is kind of, if you're on Windows 10 right now, you probably get the pop-up of them saying, hey, by October or whatever, you need to be switch over to Windows 11. I'm absolutely terrified to do the update. Hopefully there's no issues when it comes to that. But I mean, this is crypto, right? Like this is supposed to be your bank account, and all of a sudden you're going to have to switch everything. Now, there's arguments of, okay, well, maybe this is good security practice that you're rewriting down your security phrase. You're kind of, keeping up with the security practices, whatever it may be. But it does seem kind of weird that I just never thought that that would be the case for one of the biggest or best-selling devices that's used in crypto, which is kind of crazy. Bro got liquidated for $100 million and became a news account. Remember to always take profit. So James Wynn is one of the characters within the space, which we've got a lot of characters that pop up here. And then that took, I want to say it was like $1 million or $2 million, and then started leverage trading. It got up to like 80 million to 100 million, and then the market came crashing back down. And then the market went up again. I don't know, but it's really weird that we have all these people that like try to make a name for themselves, and then they just like pivot to other stuff whenever like their initial niche is kind of off to the side. So this is kind of a cool little graphic here. It's probably not going to mean a whole lot to many people, but this is just explaining the different transactions per second, showing the Polkadot is super fast, Visa is pretty fast, Ethereum not so much so, and then Bitcoin on the far side, very, very slow. Doesn't really mean a whole lot for you and I, but just when we're trying to say, hey, if we're looking at scaling, we're trying to get the entire world on chain, all this kind of other stuff. It's just a good representation of that. Yo, dermy, market go up, market go down. True. And people can make bank on swing trading, and you think somebody's good at it, and then boom, they end up not being. Igloo Inc., the CBOE, files the Canary Pengu ETF 19B-4. All those words. With this filing, the Pengu and Pudgy Penguins NFT ETF becomes only the second meme coin style ETF after Doge, and first filing with NFTs to enter the SEC's Gov's formal review process, joining coins such as Bitcoin, Sol, XRP, and Doge. Is it a problem that I don't really view Pengu as a meme? Like, everything we've seen around the Pudgy Penguin ecosystem, it feels like it's got purpose and something for it. So in my mind, I struggle so much with saying, okay, this is just supposed to be a meme coin that people like. I just default thinking like this is going to be a utility coin for something else. You know what I mean? Today, history was made again. CBOE, one of the world's largest traditional exchanges, filed a 19B-4 for the Canary Pengu ETF. With this 19B4 filing, the Pengu and Pudgy Penguin NFTs ETF becomes only the second. This is the same thing we just read. This marks a major milestone in the institutional adoption of Pudgy Penguins and Pengu, signaling strong confidence from a player as established as CBOE in our assets, ecosystem, and community. When Canary Capital filed the S1 for Pudgy Penguin NFTs and Pengu, it confirmed our place at the forefront of crypto innovation. With CBOE now leading the next phase of the ETF approval process, it's clear they see Pudgy Penguins as a key vehicle for retail crypto adoption. We believe Pudgy Penguins is the face of crypto and will continue to lead the political and institutional adoption of this industry. This filing is another step and checkpoint to validating that belief. This is going to be probably the most niche thing that I'm going to say, but there's going to be like maybe 5 of you that get this. The CBOE, when they're saying that, I keep thinking of that guy that went like all in on Barachain. Remember the person that was just posting about how they were all in on like the Blur airdrops and then pivoted over to Barachain and that whole ecosystem. Every time I see that name, I keep thinking of that individual. I don't even know if that's their exact name, but I remember they had some kind of funky thing that sounded like an address. All right, going over to Shiv, who's got the insights, because I'm here just to relay the stuff that we see on the timeline. I'm not an expert. So the next step in the ETF process is underway, and only the likes of Doge, HBAR, and DOT have filed this. So what's CBOE, and why is this big news for Pudgy Penguins? CBOE is known as the Chicago Board Options Exchange. They're one of the largest and most respected financial exchanges in the world, regulated by the U.S. institution that deals with trillions in trading volume annually. When CBOE files a 19B4, it means business. So what is a 19B4 filing? It's basically a formal permission slip submitted to the SEC by exchanges to list new products, especially big ones like crypto ETFs. This is important because exchanges can't list new financial products like crypto ETFs without the SEC approval. Like when BlackRock or Fidelity wants to launch a spot Bitcoin ETF, the exchange they partner with files a 19B4 to ask the SEC to allow that ETF to trade. Pudgy Penguins and Pengu becomes the second meme coin style after the only one, Doge. Dogecoin. Alongside this is the first NFT to enter SEC's formal review process, and this hasn't been done before ever. The importance of solidifying Pudgy Penguins for the long term is being secured as we speak. Institutional penguins. And then they highlight more things for this. And so this is sort of interesting as well, because what's going to happen here is we in Web3 do this compare and contrast thing of, oh, Bored Apes are doing this, Doodles are doing this, Pudgy Penguins are doing this. So do we then see these other companies say, okay, we see Pudgies being successful with this meme coin sort of filing. Do we try to go down that realm? And don't forget, right, like we're talking about the Pengu token, but it's also referencing the Pudgy Penguin NFTs themselves in and amongst this. So this was yesterday, but so far today, $108,000 Bitcoin. Federal Housing Finance Agency issues order to count Bitcoin as an asset for a mortgage, which we'll get to in a second. More public companies adopted a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and GameStop raised $450 million to potentially buy more Bitcoin. Definitely feels like Bitcoin is the focus for this cycle. Now, an NFT collection some of you might be familiar with from back in the day that's still kicking around, Ben Morrow and the Huxley Saga. This was going to be a Star Wars type universe and is, sorry, maybe that's not the right way of wording that, but what they did was having hardcover claims back in the day, and now they are issuing softcover ones of those books. I think there was about 6 different comics with them. If you ended up collecting all of them, then you got these rare digital variations of the comics, the physical ones. They did different avatars from humans to creatures to everything in between, and still kicking around, and love to see it. So do you remember when we highlighted the NFL draft before and I bought that Houston Texans hat? And I was like, damn, I just love the draft hats. Listen, we got to look again. I'm not going to lie. We got to look at the NBA draft caps here because these ones are also sort of similar, but these are just the logos on the side with some various textural color differences for them, but trying to see what exactly ones we like. Lakers one looks clean. The Chicago Bulls, I don't think they've ever gone wrong with anything. It's interesting seeing like the white hats versus the ones with like the color, like the Miami Heat, the black and the white one. And then, I mean, Detroit Pistons, we love that. We got the Los Angeles Lakers with purple. I mean, listen, not bad. I don't know if I'm going to go out and buy them, right? But these are also significantly cheaper than the NFL caps. Why in the world is that the case? So remember what I said at the beginning of the stream of the fact that Ledger potentially is highlighting or trying to divert attention from them basically shutting down support for one of their main devices. Again, they've just sponsored the San Antonio Spurs for a multi-year deal, and they are highlighted on the jerseys. And I think that news broke at the exact same time as that announcement. So maybe we're trying to hide things, or maybe I'm thinking about a little bit too much in that. Ilya saying, missing NFT NYC is my annual tradition now, but still bullish on all of you making it out there. So we played a video yesterday from Matty B that was kind of like, hey, NFT NYC, don't feel FOMO. The speakers are good, but there's like not even 50 people here. There's a couple photos that he shared, and they were like, it didn't look that entertaining. I remember going to these events before and having friends to hang out with, and the energy was there, and begs the question, are these events worth hosting anymore if they're costing X amount of money, if people aren't going out there to make those trips possible, if we do have a little bit of segregation from the people that are connected? Because there's so many people that I still see on the timeline that I used to talk to a ton back in the day, and I just don't see them around anymore. But how do we bring back the love of everyone together for Web3? That is ultimately the question that we have. Here's Visa's CEO.
We've been embracing and building for years, preparing for this moment. The Genius Act has now passed the Senate, as you know, and is expected to pass the House. I think that'll give regulatory clarity to stablecoins. And we've been embracing stablecoins. We've been enabling people to issue Visa credentials on top of stablecoins. We've been modernizing our own settlement infrastructure with stablecoins. And we have a whole host of innovations that we plan to deploy around the world embracing stablecoins.
Okay, I'm going to keep playing this, but just as a note, yesterday, remember we highlighted the fact that MasterCard had a deal. Oh, damn it. I forget who it was with. Maybe it was MoonPay. No, it wasn't MoonPay. It was before. But this referencing the fact of MasterCard being somebody that seems like they're connecting massively across the Web3 rails. Well, who's MasterCard's competitor? Visa. And so both of these giants are trying to fight for viability, focus, everything to do with Web3. That, I mean, listen, maybe a little bit of competition is good for the space.
Do you believe then stablecoins are going to be a significant way that people transact in the future?
Hey, David, we think there's product market fit for stablecoins in 3 areas. The first is the capital markets use case, and you've seen that with crypto trading, and that's true globally, here in the US and around the world. But the product market fit that's most interesting going forward is outside the US. And there's 2 areas. The first is countries where you've got high currency volatility or currency controls, where people really want to have access to US dollars, and they either can't get US dollars or it's very expensive to do that. Stable coins provide an opportunity for people in those countries, maybe there's 30, 40, 50 of those countries around the world, to have easy, cost-efficient access to US dollars. And we'll plan to give them Visa credentials on top of those stable coins that they can spend in merchants around their country or other places. The second area of product market fit is cross-border, and that can be remittances, person-to-person, or business-to-business transactions. And in both of those areas, those are additive opportunities for Visa, and we're embracing stablecoins and building and innovating on top of them to provide new use cases in those areas.
Right.
I think there's a little confusion because most stablecoins are US dollar denominated, people immediately think about use cases in the United States, when I think most people who studied this and are active in this really understand that the product market fit is outside the US.
Interesting take. Very interesting take. Now, we've talked before, and we've kind of not really gone down the deep end of it too much, but the fact of just participating within crypto as a whole is something that can end up having you random wins. And so this is an example. There was an event for Segment's Kryptonia space a while ago, and I was in it, and this Grim Reaper skin is apparently 1.05 Sol, which is like $145, because that's what Sol is right now. And I just did that event because it was fun. But apparently, if I were to sell that, I'd have pocketed $145. That's just for being active. Now, we compare things that we love in the past to the way that things are now, and obviously there's great change, but I wanted to highlight this post because it was crazy. So it's a picture of a kid opening a Nintendo 64 way back in the day. So opening the Nintendo 64, 1998, plug it in, put GoldenEye in for the first time. The James Bond game was great. Kill the dude from the bathroom vents under hundreds of times. Hit a triple jump in Mario 64. Tears of joy streaming down cheeks. Unbridled joy. To 2025, opening the PlayStation 5, pure dread, find Wi-Fi, dig a password, connect, create PlayStation Network account, no disk slot to put anything in, emasculated, demands credit card information, controller needs charge. Please wait while we download a 130 gigabyte game. Maybe we'll play tomorrow. It's time. Okay, listen. W. But it's funny as hell because we used to just love things that are simple. And nowadays, technology, it is not simple whatsoever. But just in, the U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency issues order to count Bitcoin and crypto as an asset for a mortgage. Now, I saw this post from EchoX. This says, as a former mortgage banker, let me be very clear. The FHFA just issued a directive for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to begin considering cryptocurrency as an asset in mortgage risk assessments without converting to US dollars. This is massive. We're talking about the two giants that hold over $7 trillion in housing loans now prepping to prepping to allow digital assets as reserves for a single family loans. You'll soon be able to use your crypto stack as part of your home loan qualifications. No more sell to qualify, no more crypto doesn't count. This opens the floodgates for true adoption and marks the beginning of a tokenized housing market backed by the US mortgage system. This isn't speculation, this isn't hopium, this is policy. True. Crazy. And this, holy smokes, the ApeCo proposal has passed by basically unanimous support, 99.66% in favor. So the ApeCoin DAO is El Dunzo. What drama, what waste of money. In some cases, some of them are really cool, like I like the Bored Ape Gazette, love that. But damn, at least they're pivoting before it went completely to zero. True. But we got some other side updates as well. What do they got? So that's showing the other deeds, and it said in the bottom there in-engine footage as well. The vision for the next-gen creator tools and other side. So I'm not going to play this. I did watch this a little bit earlier, but basically this is a text-to-prompt world. So they say, hey, we want to create a sunset with a blue floor. We want to do all these other things. And the question with this that I have, and for people that watch the stream for quite a while, we've highlighted the fact that the Think agents, the team that took like the altered state machine component of Futureverse, and now they're creating the Think protocol that has a whole bunch of people associated with it. There's some connection they have with ApeChain because they gave out a whole bunch of their initial agent bundles to builders on that network. I don't know if this is associated at all, but would be very, very interesting if we do have some sort of a collaboration for this. But it does show that we are going to have more tools and creator advances becoming available for those that want to go out there. So in July, we'll see the launch of Bathroom Blitz. Meet me at the Clubhouse bubble and the rollout of almost 1,000 assets from all 29 Other Deed biomes to ODK developers. These releases set the stage for Other Deeds and Voyager 2.0 later this year, and the resource system beginning next year. So people speculated a lot around some of the land plots and what they had on them, so it seems like that's going to come into play. So this is a look on Bathroom Blitz. It's an 8v8 deathmatch in the Bored Ape Yacht Club bathroom launching in July, built by Command Line using the Other Side Development Toolkit. This is the first look at what external developers have been building. The experience will stay live for a few weeks while we gather feedback, make improvements, and prepare for more concurrent experiences. This activation starts accumulating Voyager XP. Retro XP for prior engagement will roll out ahead of launching the persistent state. So is this something where the ApeCoin DAO kind of halts a little bit and they use some of that reward tokens of ApeCoin for what's going on with this? Is there a different XP or token system that's going to be a part of this? I guess my only thought, maybe it's kind of negative, but I'm not like necessarily trying to be so, is like, for these games, a lot of it feels like the same. Like, it doesn't seem like there's a big difference between when we've done the Other Side experiences versus like this Bathroom Blitz, which sounds like it was supposed to be something kind of different, where it's like, no, it's all kind of the same characters, the same weapons, same everything else, but it's just done within kind of a different map. So I'm not sure what to think of that. Obviously, Fortnite does something similar to it. But July's Meet Me at the Clubhouse will be the newly upgraded Bubbles experience. Integrated community feedback from previous versions. They improved the capacity from 100 people to 500 people in a single bubble. Deep link integration, allowing Bubbles to be streamed to external platforms and users to join directly via link. So this is, I don't know if this is like a content creator thing, if I need to be aware of that or what. August brings us to the launch of our second persistent experience, Other Side Outbreak. The experience will stay live for a few weeks, stress testing our live ops systems and validating multiple concurrent experiences running ahead of the persistent state release. So this, honestly, this sort of reads as a thing of, yes, a lot of stuff is coming for Other Side, but it does feel like these are all testing sides where it's not necessarily pushing the marketing, pushing the persistent state or anything like that. So the thought and the hypothesis around, okay, like summer seems like it's somewhat slow within the crypto space for certain things. It feels like that's probably going to be the case. But again, towards September, October, November, etc., things should be picking up quite aggressively. Other Side is a new kind of blockchain platform. When you interact with an object like a token, you'll actually be interacting and collecting on-chain. Other Side supports ERC20, ERC1155, and ERC721, and a few other standards, which means tokens, items, and quests are all seamless on-chain transaction. Everything runs on ApeChain, and Ape is the coin of the realm. And not everyone needs to go through the ODK to create on Other Side. Every Other Deed holder will be able to access creation tools for their graffiti stickers, emotes, and Voyager 2.0 platforms, enabling new content or opportunities to extend the utility of existing collections. And weren't these the Telegram stickers that people were buying for like $200, $300? But more to come for Other Side. Very interesting update, but cool to see that things are still happening on that front. So in streaming, we've talked a little bit about how things are changing. And for games, it's interesting because Tim the Tapman, who's a big streamer, says that gaming might be cooked because IRL streams are seeming to be the ones that are taking over. And we've seen the Streamer University from Kai Cenat and a lot of other notable individuals trying to do more live stream things, going to eat, doing whatever. And similar to Instagram, if you use that and you go and like you check on your friends' stores or whatever, we're all kind of like just vicariously living through other people, because who wants to go out and spend a bunch of money? So watching other people do it while you sit at the comfort of your home, eating a bag of chips, hell friggin' yeah. Justin, Director of Digital Assets, says the U.S. is committed to passing crypto market structure legislation by September. Maybe a little bit of a slow summer, but oh baby, things should be picking up. That's it for this edition of XFeed. I hope you found value of this. I hope you found a little bit something entertaining, and I hope that you are enjoying your day and will continue to do so into tomorrow, where I will see you again. Yo, Jeremy, thank you so much for the subscription and coming on through. And once again, congratulations on the Gigs with Vibes. Hope you guys are going to, realize that there's a lot going on. You just got to be paying attention. Talk soon.